YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back with an online battle. We're playing the High Elves tonight. Got myself a Flamespire Phoenix and a Princess on a Star Dragon here. In my main line, I've got a couple Swordmasters of Hoeth, a couple of White Lions, and several Spearmen, and they're backed up by 3 Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. I'm up against Chaos, led by Sigvald, the So Magnificent. He even has his Mirror Shield. He's going to get attacked right off the bat, too. He's got some Chosen with Halberds and several other high-tier infantry units through here. He's got some Chosen and, let's see, Forsaken over here. He's got a couple of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. At first, I was targeting his infantry with my Bolt Throwers, but second thought, I decide that I'm probably going to target his Marauder Horsemen because they're the biggest threat to my Lord. And his infantry is good, but since I have at least a few armor-piercing units, he's not going to get away scot-free in an infantry fight, so I switch my bolt types over and start targeting his cavalry, and with pretty good success here. I'm going to use my Princess. This is not really a great fight for her, but I'm trying to do a lot of damage to his Marauder Horsemen. I want to get these guys out of the way so that my Princess can rule with impunity on the battlefield, because these guys will do a lot of damage to armored flying units. You can see he's got some chevrons and stuff on him as well, but the Eagle Claws are tearing them a new one pretty quickly. Here we're going to have Chosen going toe-to-toe with Swordmasters of Hoeth. This is not Chosen with great weapons, so I don't think this fight's going to go well for him. But Chosen aren't a pushover. They're going to last a little while in this fight, but you can see they are getting beat pretty bad. And again, his horsemen getting some hits here, because I slow down for a second with my Princess. I don't remember what it was I was focused on, but my Eagle Claws are at least answering what he's doing. Over here, I'm trying to tie down his Chaos Knights because I got to keep my artillery alive. I spent so much money on it, I have to use it for a while. So I'm going to use a combination of my spears and some of my other units. I'm going to use a breath attack on the flank of these halberds, get a little bit of damage done. And at this point, I'm going to have to switch my bolt throwers targets over. Again, just want to keep these Chaos Knights away from my lines. That's my goal here, is use the spears and the Phoenix just to tie these guys up. I don't have anything that's going to kill these guys quickly, so it's going to be a process. Here I decided to just turn around and get rid of this last Marauder Horse. It's doing a little bit of damage to me, but not too much now that it's taken a lot of damage. I want those guys off the battlefield, like I said. My opponent hasn't managed to get to my artillery yet. And up here, look at this. This Chosen, they're hanging tough. They've got some help from some halberds now, but they're actually hanging pretty tough in that fight at the moment. I need to dive in there with my Princess. I'm not really sure what I was doing with my Princess here. I may have been trying to skirmish something, but I'm mostly just failing in that regard. A little bit rusty. I haven't played a lot of battles recently, and I need to get back into the swing of things, and I wasn't great to begin with. In any case, again, not really sure what's going on with the Princess. I may have been trying to shoot at Sigvald, but that's mostly a waste because he's shielded. Over here, he finally gets a charge in with his Chaos Knight, so he's going to get his first charge in where I was fighting Forsaken with my my White Lions. The Forsaken are doing surprisingly well, but there was also other infantry. There was 2 units of them. Or that's an Aspiring Champion. Yeah, the Forsaken were defeated. The Aspiring Champions are still fighting. My White Lions are doing well. I finally get my Princess free. I think it's time to attack Sigvald, so I'm going to come down and start doing some damage to him. My Swordmasters are holding up well here. These ones in the center were doing well, but then got outflanked. They've mostly defeated this Chosen, but then started losing as they got outflanked by the halberds. But then I'm going to turn around and start opening up on the halberds at point-blank range with my Eagle Claws, and I should be able to mostly deal with them in a pretty quick manner because they're going to take so much damage at this range. Yeah, so there's the Princess. Again, this Phoenix has done marvelously in just really mostly neutralizing his Chaos Knights. They're going to finally get a good charge here and cause some damage on my Princess. But all of this has distracted him, and he still hasn't gotten my my Bolt Throwers, which, again, look at the point-blank damage, and then there's the terror that kicks in from my Dragon, and it routs a bunch of his Chaos units, which are not immune to terror. It's still a huge weakness of Chaos. Even their high-tier units can be terror routed if you hit them right. I mean, they don't run at the first sign of a fight, but they're a little bit sketchy sometimes. His Marauder Horsemen, some of them came back, and then over here I'm just firing some shots across into these Forsaken and kind of determining what to do next. And I think Sigvald is the appropriate target. Just take him off the battlefield, and we should be able to swing this battle completely in our favor. There are some Chosen left here, so not necessarily good for me, but I've got some Spearmen I can tie them up with. And again, just allow my bolt throwers more time to fire and allow me the time to kill Sigvald. And over here, Sigvald gets rocked and rolled by a Star Dragon. Yeah, Sigvald is not really a match for this type of thing. He's better at dueling lords on foot. He's not really meant to be dueling big monsters, and at this point I was figuring if I put Sigvald out of his misery, then it's the end of the battle, and that's exactly what happened. So there you go, Sigvald out. Let's managing to win this one. So hope y'all enjoyed that one. The Chaos player here, his army was heavy infantry focused, which could have been dangerous for me depending on the build type that I brought. Like if I took an infantry build, his build may have been more effective. He did bring the Marauder Horsemen, which helps to counter flying units. The problem with them is that they have a very limited range. I don't blame him for doing it though, because it's really Chaos's only good answer to dragons, because they lose in an aerial fight unless they bring their own zombie dragon supported by Feral Manticore. But that's kind of risky too, because if you bring the Feral Manticore and stuff with the dragon and you spend all your money there and then the High Elf player picks something else, you can find yourself in rough shape. I would say that his army here wasn't very well set up to counter archers, but you know, when you're shielded Chaos Warriors with high armor and the High Elves just don't have armor-piercing missiles, it makes sense. But that's also part of the reason why I had some success with my bolt throwers. Again, these guys didn't get a ton of kills, but you saw where they were able to help rout some infantry at close range, and they were able to get rid of his Marauder Horsemen. I'm not sure if they paid for themselves, but they did okay. And my Sword Masters here ended up holding out quite well. I believe they earned these chevrons in the fight. I don't think I had any money left over to give them. So they may not have gotten a lot of kills, but the kills they got were pretty worthwhile. So good game to Walks with Frogs. Had fun playing against them. Hope you all enjoyed this one. HeirofCarthage signing out for this time, and I will be back soon with some more online battles.